He was seconds away from sitting in his Ferrari when a little boy screamed, "Don't get in the car!" No one else saw it. No one else said a word. But that child's warning stopped a billionaire in his tracks and saved his life. What was it that a 7-year-old was the only one who noticed? You won't believe who was plotted, or the twist that came next. Listen to this story until the end to find out, and please let us know which country you're listening from. Please also subscribe to our channel. It was a calm, sunny morning in the peaceful suburb of Maple Glen, New Jersey. Birds were chirping, sprinklers ticked rhythmically, and the scent of freshly cut grass lingered in the air. Nothing about the day hinted that danger was close. Julian Mercer, a 45-year-old billionaire and founder of Mercurian Technologies, was preparing for what should have been an ordinary morning. He was scheduled to speak at a tech and education gala later that day, where he'd quietly announce a $5 million donation for struggling public schools. Wearing a crisp navy suit and polished red Ferragamo shoes, Julian stepped outside the discreet Airbnb he'd rented under a fake name. No entourage, no media, just him, his phone, and his bright yellow Ferrari parked in front. He glanced at the time, 9:10 a.m., and walked to the driver's side. Taking a steady breath, he placed his left hand on the doorframe and moved his right foot toward the pedals. Just then, a scream. One sharp, desperate scream pierced the quiet. "Don't get in the car!" Julian froze mid-motion. The voice was young, high-pitched, terrified. Turning, he saw a small boy, no more than 7, sprinting toward him from across the street. His face was wet with tears, and his green jacket fluttered behind him like a cape. "Please don't," the boy cried again. "Don't sit down." Startled, Julian straightened. "What?" The boy didn't stop. "Don't get in." "There's something in the car. Please, mister, it's not safe." Julian blinked, trying to process. "Slow down. What do you mean?" Pointing frantically under the driver's seat, the boy shouted, "I saw a man put something there this morning. Wires, a box." He wore gloves. Julian's pulse surged. The boy's fear was too real to be faked. Still holding the door open, Julian cautiously leaned forward, just enough to see something metallic, black, and clearly out of place. A blinking red light. He backed away instantly, chilled to the bone. Within minutes, Julian's private security arrived in 2 black SUVs, tires screeching as they turned into the cul-de-sac. Their guns remained hidden, but their urgency wasn't. One agent dropped to the ground, inspected underneath, then carefully checked the inside of the car. Seconds later, confirmation. "Sir," he said, "there's a device. Motion triggered. It's an explosive." Emergency crews were called in. Police taped off the street. The bomb squad followed. Julian stood silently on the sidewalk, trembling. He couldn't stop looking at the little boy, who'd just run across a lawn and quite literally saved his life. His name? Elijah Turner, 7 years old. He lived 3 houses down with his mom, who was asleep after her overnight shift at the hospital. Elijah had woken early and sat near the window with his sketch pad when he noticed a man in a hoodie crouched beside the Ferrari just before sunrise. At first, he assumed the man was trying to steal something until he saw the wires and the blinking light. So when Julian came outside and approached the car, Elijah didn't think. He ran. Julian couldn't stop shaking, not from the bomb, but from what stopped it, a boy with no phone, no badge, no backup, just raw instinct and heart. Elijah stood near the curb, eyes downcast, worried he was in trouble. Julian crouched beside him. "Hey," he said gently, "you saved my life. Do you understand that?" Elijah gave a small nod, still wide-eyed. Julian asked, "Where's your mom?" "She's sleeping," Elijah replied. "She works nights at the hospital. I tried to call 911, but the Wi-Fi wasn't working." Julian let out a shaky breath. "You did more than enough." Later, police confirmed. This wasn't some random device. It was deliberately made, motion-triggered to explode the second weight hit the seat and the door closed. Someone had meant to kill Julian. But who? No threats, no notes, just intent. That night, Julian sat in a high-rise hotel suite, security on alert. Reviewing security footage from the neighborhood, a figure in a hoodie appeared at 5:03 a.m., briefly on Julian's driveway, then gone. Something about the walk, the limp. Julian paused the footage. He zoomed in. Then it hit him like a punch to the chest, a face he hadn't seen in 15 years, a name he tried hard to forget, Troy Maddox. Years ago, Troy had been one of VerisLink's earliest engineers, brilliant, driven, and secretly deceitful. He tried selling company secrets and got caught. Julian pressed charges. The arrest ruined Troy's life, wiped out his savings, and cost him custody of his daughter. Now Julian realized. Elijah looked just about that girl's age. Pull his file, Julian told his head of security. Every known address. And check on his family too. I want to help them. Quietly. The agent nodded. Later that night, police confirmed Troy had been released 8 months ago. No permanent address. He'd been spotted in the area 2 weeks earlier. This was revenge, the detective said. No doubt about it. Julian said nothing, but he couldn't stop thinking about Elijah's face, the panic in his voice, the fact that the boy had no reason to care, but did anyway. And the question that haunted Julian, what if I hadn't listened? The next morning, Julian came back to the neighborhood, not in a flashy car, but in a plain black SUV. He walked up to a small brick home and gently knocked. Elijah's mother, Danielle Turner, answered in her scrubs, confused, until she recognized him. I'm so sorry, she said. He didn't mean any trouble. He just said something was wrong. He saved my life, Julian interrupted. Please, I owe him everything. She blinked. He's still asleep. He's been quiet since yesterday. Can I talk to him? Just a minute. She hesitated, then let him in. Upstairs, Elijah sat on his bed, hugging a lion plushie. Julian stepped in and smiled. You're not in trouble, he said. Actually, you're kind of a hero. Elijah looked up but stayed quiet. Julian crouched beside the bed. You trusted your gut. You spoke up. Most adults wouldn't. And that saved me. Sniffling, Elijah whispered, I thought you'd be mad. Julian smiled gently. I'm not mad. I'm thankful. He paused, then said, Can I tell you a secret? Elijah nodded. I was scared too, Julian admitted. But you made me brave again. Downstairs, Julian sat with Danielle. He learned she worked 2 jobs, that Elijah had no siblings, that his father had died 2 years ago in a factory accident. We don't want money, Danielle said, firm. Please don't turn us into a story. I'm not here to chase headlines, Julian said. I just want to help. And he did. Quietly, Julian paid off their mortgage, set up a trust fund for Elijah, gifted Danielle a car anonymously, and guaranteed Elijah a full scholarship, any school of his choice. Then he did one more thing. At the gala, in front of hundreds of guests and flashing cameras, Julian stepped on stage in a tuxedo. But before his speech, he turned to his side. Before we begin, he said into the mic, I'd like to introduce someone far braver than me. Elijah walked out in a little navy blue suit. The crowd gasped, then erupted in applause. Julian knelt beside him and said, Some people are born into privilege. Others are born with purpose. And when courage meets purpose, lives are saved. He looked at Elijah. I owe you mine. After the gala, the two walked outside. No yellow Ferrari, no threats, just a man and a boy tied together by fate. Ever been in a limo before? Julian asked. Elijah grinned. Nope. Julian opened the door. Then let's change that. Because sometimes the person who saves your life is the one who had every reason to stay silent, but didn't. And that is what makes a true hero. If you saw something that didn't feel right, would you have the courage to speak up even if no one believed you? Let us know your honest opinions in the comments below. Because sometimes the smallest voices make the biggest difference. And thank you for listening to Storyline Narratives.